Imagine a society where you have literally no boss, no bank account, no family.
Right, and you aren't even allowed to sleep in the same bed for more than, like, a few months at a time.
Yeah, exactly. And the people who designed this thing, they claim it is absolute heaven.
Which is wild, right? Because
Mm.
usually when we talk about building a life or, building a society, there's this huge expectation of structure.
Oh, totally. Permanence. Like, we hire an architect, we draw up a blueprint, lay down concrete.
Right, you build walls to keep what is yours inside and, well, keep everything else outside. We set boundaries to feel secure.
But then you step into the world of utopian community design, and suddenly that whole architectural blueprint is just shredded.
Yeah, it's completely thrown out the window.
We are looking at a societal landscape today that actively engineers instability, like as a feature, not a bug.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
So welcome to today's deep dive. We are super thrilled you're here with us. Our mission today is to explore this incredibly fascinating document written in 2013, I believe.
Yeah, 2013, by a writer named Shuofeng.
Right. And it's titled 8 Characteristics of the Communist Community, the Second Home Created by Lifechanyuan.
And, what makes this text uniquely compelling is that it doesn't just frame itself as some theoretical musing.
Oh, right. It's not just a thought experiment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The author presents this blueprint as a modern utopian community that has actually succeeded in practice. Like, they claim to have actually solved the fundamental frictions of human coexistence.
Now, before we get into the wildly counterintuitive ways this community operates on a Tuesday, I do need to make something very clear to you, our listener.
Yeah, this is important.
This text heavily references both right-wing and left-wing political figures, as well as major religious ideologies. We are not endorsing, judging, or taking sides on any of the political or religious viewpoints contained in this text.
None at all.
Right. Our goal today is simply to impartially unpack the ideas exactly as they are presented in the source material. We are treating this as a fascinating case study in utopian community design, nothing more, nothing less.
We're basically just dissecting the mechanics here. We want to understand, the levers this author pulls to try and engineer a perfect society.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because to understand how these people actually function day to day, we first have to look at the massive, incredibly eclectic ideological foundation the author claims to build upon.
It's quite a list.
I was reading the list of inspirations in the text, and it reads like the ultimate intellectual supergroup.
Yeah.
Imagine a historical potluck dinner where literally every major thinker in human history was invited to bring a dish.
The ideological lineage claimed here is just staggering. It basically attempts to synthesize almost every major philosophical and spiritual tradition into, well, one unified theory of living.
Yeah, because the author claims inspiration from Jesus Christ, Buddha, Sakyamuni, Lao Tzu, and the Prophet Muhammad. So right there, you have, like, the heavyweights of global religion.
Right, the major spiritual pillars.
But then it pivots hard.
Yeah.
It pulls from ancient philosophers like Plato and Confucius.
Oh, and then it firmly roots itself in the thoughts of communist founders, right?
Yeah.
Marx, Engels, Lenin, Mao Zedong.
Yeah. And just for good measure, they toss in the ideals of, like, 19th century utopian socialists, too. Owen, St. Simon, Fourier.
The kind of thinkers who inspired communes like Oneida.
Exactly. The author basically frames this entire endeavor as the culmination of 2,000 years of human experiments.
What's fascinating here is a deliberate attempt to bridge these deeply spiritual and religious teachings with starkly materialist and political frameworks.
Because historically, I mean, those schools of thought are kind of at war, aren't they?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Materialist political theories generally reject spiritual frameworks as, like, distractions. And spiritual traditions often view a hyper-focus on material distribution as totally missing the point of enlightenment.
Right. They usually don't see at the same table at this historical potluck. So, I mean, how does the text reconcile Marx's focus on capital with, say, Buddha's focus on nirvana?
Well, by framing spiritual transcendence as the inevitable end goal of material equality.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, the text attempts to legitimize the community not as some fringe, isolated experiment, but as the final crystallization of all human wisdom.
So it's like the ultimate finish line.
Precisely. The author argues that the road to this success was paved with the blood, tears, and humiliation of countless predecessors. It positions this second home as the final destination of human ideological evolution.
So the idea is that the material equality of communism basically creates the conditions for the spiritual enlightenment of Buddhism or Christianity.
Exactly. It's treating one as the prerequisite for the other.
Which brings us to the actual mechanics of it all. Like,
Yeah.
how does a community built on the ideas of both Buddha and Marx actually function?
Right. On a practical level.
It starts by eliminating the two biggest sources of societal friction we have, bosses and personal property.
Ah, yes. The text introduces this concept it calls holographic management.
Yeah, and that phrase is doing a lot of heavy lifting. What does that actually mean?
Well, to understand it, think about how an actual physical hologram works. Like, if you have a holographic plate displaying an image of an apple, right?
Big apple.
And you shatter that glass plate into 100 pieces. You don't just get 100 fragments of an apple.
Wait, really?
Yeah, physics is weird that way. Every single broken shard actually contains the entire, complete image of the apple.
Oh, wow. Okay, so applied to a society, that means the management structure isn't like a pyramid where the top holds the big picture and the bottom just holds a tiny fragment of the work.
Exactly. Every single citizen embodies the entire authority and responsibility of the whole community.
That is wild.
Right. The text bases this on the way of the greatest creator, or the way of nature. The highest form of management, according to this blueprint, is literally non-management.
So no leaders, no offices.
No managers, and absolutely no hierarchies. Everyone is an equal master.
And this ties directly into the total abolition of personal belongings and money, right? Like nothing is private.
Nothing at all. The text argues that everything belongs to the community, and you basically just take what you need without extravagance.
And people are just expected to contribute their best effort daily based on their abilities. The text says no one is forced to do tasks beyond their capabilities.
Yeah, that's the theory.
But I have to play the skeptic here for a second. If there are zero bosses, no managers telling anyone what to do, and everyone just does what they feel is their, best effort,
I know where you're going with this.
how does anything actually get done? Like, what if my absolute best effort on a Tuesday is just taking a really long nap?
Right?
I mean, if there's no money to earn and no boss to fire me, who fixes a ruptured sewage pipe at 2 a.m.?
That is the classic pitfall of almost every single utopian model in history.
Exactly.
But the text counters this by relying heavily on the total elimination of personal economic stakes. In our standard societal model, friction and reluctance to work often stem from resource guarding.
Makes sense. You feel exploited because your labor enriches a boss.
Right. Or you only work hard to secure your own private property.
Like, I work to pay my mortgage. If I don't have a mortgage, my motivation plummets. I'm taking that nap.
But the text argues that by removing private property entirely, you actually remove the anxiety of scarcity. If you don't own the output, you don't fight over it.
Oh, I see.
The theory is that once the stress of personal survival is just gone, people naturally want to contribute to the organism that sustains them.
So what about the broken pipe?
Well, as for the broken pipe, holographic management means peer-to-peer accountability totally replaces formal hierarchy. You don't have a plumber assigned by a boss.
Right.
You have a community where everyone can see the pipe is broken, and whoever has the skill just steps up because their own living environment is compromised.
Okay, so they're betting that human nature, when it's completely stripped of financial anxiety and artificial hierarchy, just defaults to helpful cooperation.
That's the gamble, yeah.
But, I mean, once you remove the financial incentive to hoard resources, you run into an even deeper, much more stubborn biological hurdle.
Oh, absolutely. Blood loyalty.
The nuclear family. And here's where it gets really interesting, because they don't just, gently phase out the family unit. They explicitly attack it.
Yeah, they go right after it.
The text actually calls marriage and family the breeding grounds for selfishness, sources of distress and pain, and the root causes of endless resource exploitation and waste.
It's intense. They completely dismantle it. The community just takes over the entire life cycle. Food, clothing, shelter, healthcare.
Everything, from birth to death. The elderly are cared for by the collective. Children are raised and educated entirely by the community.
Yeah, the text literally says parents and children no longer worry about each other.
Just imagine that mental shift for a second. You are completely outsourcing your biological lineage to the group.
It's a huge psychological pivot.
You never have to save for your child's college fund. You never have to stress about the cost of your aging parents' nursing home care. I mean, the sheer amount of mental bandwidth that would free up is staggering.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, we see the psychological engineering at play here.
Right, because there's a reason they're doing this.
Exactly. The author recognizes that our strongest, most primal emotional ties are to our blood relatives and our spouses. When a crisis hits, or, when resources are scarce, you are naturally going to protect your child before you protect your neighbor.
Oh, totally. You'd hoard food, accumulate wealth, step over others to ensure your genetic line survives. It's biology.
Right. And the text views that very natural protective instinct as the actual engine of inequality. It frames the family as almost like a microcorporation.
A micro-corporation. Wow, yeah.
So by severing those biological and familial loyalties, the community forcibly redirects 100% of an individual's loyalty, love, and resources back to the collective.
Because if you don't have a spouse to impress or children to leave a financial inheritance to, your energy theoretically goes entirely toward maintaining the community, the second home.
Right. They're trying to eliminate the root cause of inequality by literally dissolving the biological unit that drives it.
It is the ultimate collectivization. Like, they aren't just socializing labor and property, they are socializing love and obligation.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
But that raises a massive question about the individuals who make up this collective. I mean, if you take away my career, my bank account, my spouse, and my specific role as a parent,
What is left of you?
exactly what is actually left of me. To achieve this level of group focus, it seems like the community actively strips away all the markers of individual identity.
They do. They enforce what is essentially a societal blank slate upon entry.
Because the text states the community refuses to engage in any political activities or religious rituals, right?
No idol worship.
They don't celebrate holidays, they don't even celebrate birthdays.
No birthdays at all.
And the text emphasizes that your past background is completely irrelevant. Whether you have a PhD in astrophysics or you are completely illiterate, rich, poor, high-ranking official, or commoner,
The moment you step in, all those titles just evaporate. Everyone becomes a laborer.
they specifically avoid discussing personal matters or privacy, valuing only the present moment.
We talked earlier about pulling from Buddhist philosophy, and, well, this is where we really see it applied practically to dissolve the ego.
Because human identity is fundamentally built on comparison, isn't it?
Exactly.
Uh,
I know who I am because of how I differ from you. I have this degree, you have that job, I celebrate this cultural holiday, you celebrate that one.
so by erasing all of that, erasing the resume, the holidays, even the birthdays, they're basically starving the ego.
Yes.
Because if a birthday is just a day where society elevates one specific individual above the collective for 24 hours, that totally violates their absolute equality.
And that is the profound insight of this characteristic, really. True, uncompromised equality is impossible if people are allowed to hold on to the markers that made them unequal in the outside world.
That makes a lot of sense.
If you want harmony, you cannot have in-groups and out-groups. You check your ego, your history, and your calendar at the door, because the text views historical baggage as the primary obstacle to unity.
But let me push back on that a bit, because a society with no families, no personal property, no money, no holidays, and no birthdays. I mean, that sounds incredibly static.
It does sound like it could be, yeah.
And a lot of 19th century communes collapsed simply because people grew terribly bored. If every day is exactly the same and no one owns anything, where is the friction that creates progress or even just entertainment?
Well, the founders of this community actually anticipated that exact stagnation, and their solution is arguably the most extreme psychological lever in the entire document.
Which brings us to the war on entropy.
Yes.
The text states they operate on the principle of least resistance, and it uses this very specific phrase. Dharma sets no rules, it is ever changing.
We should probably translate those terms for everyone.
Good idea.
So entropy is a principle of physics, describing how systems naturally decline into disorder and stagnation over time.
Right.
Applied to sociology, it basically means a community that gets too comfortable will rot from the inside out.
Okay. And Dharma.
Dharma,
Yeah.
in this context, refers to a cosmic law or truth that is fluid. It adapts to reality rather than rigidly fighting against it.
So to fight that sociological rot, that entropy, literally everything in this community is in a state of constant engineered flux.
Everything.
Residences change frequently. You do not get a permanent bedroom.
Nope.
Work shifts change. Personnel are constantly rotating. Even recreational activities continually evolve.
And the text explicitly states it is designed so that it is impossible for two people to stay together for an extended period.
That's the part that really got me. They actively avoid and prevent one-on-one romantic relationships.
It is basically the human equivalent of crop rotation.
Oh, I like that analogy.
Yeah, like if you plant the exact same crop in the exact same field year after year, that crop depletes specific nutrients in the soil and it attracts highly specific pests.
And eventually, the soil turns sour and the crop fails.
Exactly.
So what does this all mean? Moving beds constantly, shifting jobs, having your companions deliberately swapped out so you literally can't form a deep, romantic bond.
It sounds like a lot.
It sounds exhausting. I mean, it sounds like a forced nomadic existence inside a commune. You'd never feel a sense of home. You'd never feel settled.
This raises an important question about the balance between the human desire for comfort and, well, the danger of that very comfort. What you view as exhausting, the text views as a necessary survival mechanism.
Really?
Yeah, the text believes that human comfort and long-term associations are profound threats to the larger group.
Ah, I guess because if I stay in the same room with the same three people for 2 years, we become friends. We form an attachment.
Right, and in the sociological soil of a commune, friends form cliques, and cliques form factions.
Okay, I see where this is going.
If you and your friends work in the same kitchen every day, you start doing things your own way, maybe ignoring the broader community rules,
Yes.
you might start setting aside the best food for your specific group.
And the text warns that these factions inevitably lead to warlordism, which is just competing power centers within the community.
Exactly.
Warlordism springing up just because someone wanted a permanent roommate. That is wild.
It is wild, but it makes complete sense in their logic. If you keep these social pots stirring so vigorously that nothing has time to stick to the bottom, factions can never form.
They keep everyone slightly off balance to ensure that the only permanent, stable thing in an individual's life is the community itself.
Right. If you are constantly rotating, you are forced to view everyone else equally, forming what they call a harmonious global family, rather than hundreds of little competing tribal factions.
It is just a dizzying, meticulous amount of social engineering. It attempts to rewrite economics, biology, psychology, and social behavior in one massive sweep.
It really does.
And according to the author Schweffing, following these characteristics paves a sunny path for humanity.
The text claims they have achieved a state where everyone is happy, joyful, free, and blessed. It even frames it as the secret to elevating life to the realms of heaven, basically becoming a celestial being or Buddha.
Which brings us right back to the beginning of our discussion. The goal isn't just to run a functional, peaceful village.
No, the goal is total spiritual and evolutionary transcendence for the complete removal of human attachment.
To you listening, we know you tune in because you love gathering multiple perspectives. And honestly, this text is a goldmine for challenging our default settings.
Absolutely.
It is genuinely fascinating to study a blueprint that tries to systematically engineer out human suffering by meticulously engineering out the very attachments we usually define as human nature.
And, it leaves us with a really profound philosophical puzzle to mull over.
Yeah.
If this entire utopian system relies on removing friction, severing personal ties, and dismantling stable environments to achieve perfect harmony,
What happens to the innate human drive to build something lasting of one's own?
exactly. If you eliminate the friction of ownership, family, and identity, does a perfectly smooth life run the risk of slipping entirely past meaning?
That is the ultimate question. I mean, if you tear up the architectural blueprint, erase the property lines, and refuse to let anyone settle in one room,
Are you granting people ultimate freedom?
or are you just leaving them standing in an empty field, constantly swapping tools with strangers? Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Keep questioning, keep exploring the way the world works, and we'll catch you on the next one.